We'll start off with Maven. Had a question. Or you had two questions.
I had two questions, but I can only think of one very important, pertinent one, because I had just discovered that there's confirmed angels on site, so I was hoping to get maybe some clues, if not exactly who they are, maybe what specific floors they're hanging out on, or what they're specifically investigating. I don't know.
So,
if I could find out who one is, that'd be awesome.
We had already kind of covered the who. Yeah. That's not something I can possibly give you.
Gotcha.
I can give you the info that they are not in Twilight. They are within cover. And now, there is one other thing I can give you, because you mentioned something that you hadn't mentioned before there. So I will count this as your second question.
Okay.
You had asked, or you had mentioned, what floors they frequent. Now, this is more speculation. This wouldn't be a direct answer. This would be essentially an in-universe, your character sitting down, thinking it through and thinking of likely cases. The most likely floors that they would probably be on are on any sort of R&D floor, research and development floor. That makes sense. And you've heard of the 61st floor, which everybody just refers to as the company archives. That also seems, especially with this entire building being infrastructure and the like, it would make sense that any angel worth their salt would attempt to get onto that floor so they would have access to all the company's archives. Those tend to be the floors that make the most sense. You don't suspect that they would be on any of the other companies' floors nearly as much. With what you know, it's mostly DevaCorp that is diving into like this infrastructure type research. The other companies in this building are more just, oh, they needed office space and this place had office space for them.
Okay.
So what you wish to do with that information now?
Yes. I mean, I'll probably forward my suspicions. They're probably hanging out in, these floors and stuff. But as for how to possibly track one down when their cover is so perfect, I might be able to figure out who one is by digging into where they're digging, and maybe process of elimination, I guess.
So, from what that sounds like, where are you looking to dig specifically?
I recall I don't have access to the 61st, right? No, none of us do.
Nobody does. The person who has the closest access... Well, everybody has pretty close access. Everybody has access to the 60th.
60th, so it's one floor above. How tall is the 60th floor?
Okay, so luckily I actually base this building off of a specific building in India. So I can actually get you somewhat of that. It is 300 meters tall, this entire building. And that's 80 floors.
Okay. I guess what I want to know is if I were to use...
So about 984 feet.
Okay. Not quite the information I'm looking for. What I want to do is be on the 60th floor and then use Blind Sense, which is a demonic form ability. Have a 360 field of vision. I think it's... I don't know how far it goes. I need to look that up. But if I could expand that to the floor above, that'd be awesome. But I need to find it so I can look at how far it goes. And it's hard to find things.
Codex of Darkness. If you ever, yeah, if you ever need to find something fast, Codex of Darkness tends to be better.
Okay.
You just go to demonic forms. What is called blind sight?
Yeah, I believe so. Blind Sense.
Blind Sense, that is on page 200 of the core book. 20 feet, regardless of barriers.
Okay, so is the 60th floor within 20 feet? I mean, 61st?
I don't foresee... Let's see. Office buildings usually don't have ceilings over 10 feet tall, to my understanding, right?
No, but this is the cafeteria section, or the restaurant section, which might be a bit taller.
Yes, but I still can't see it having like a 20-foot, you know.
Yeah.
80 floors at 984. What would that be on average?
Math.
Yeah. Who's better? Who's good at math? Real quick.
What was the question?
984 is the total height of this building. Obviously, a good portion of that's not going to be usable because, you know, how skyscrapers tend to be. We're looking for the roughly average height of each floor.
There are how many floors again?
80.
Well, I mean, if you just divide it by 80 flat, it's 12.3 feet per floor. But again, if you can't use every floor, you could probably round it to like an even 10 or 12 or something.
So I would say yes, Blind Sense would allow you to do that. It makes sense in this case.
Cool. So I'm going to do that. It is a demonic form ability, so I need to manifest it and take a... What's it called? Cover.
Yep. So your eyes... Are your eyes black, or do they just completely disappear?
I think I said they disappear. Well, the demonic form doesn't have eyes.
Yeah.
So...
And you're manifesting that, so essentially that part of your face would disappear.
Put some glasses on, maybe a hoodie.
As you manifest this ability. So give
Head
me
down
that...
mopping. Yes.
compromise.
So it's manipulation plus how much for each non-manifested, I believe?
Okay, there we go. I defined my roll 20. I think it's +1 for each non-manifested. At least +1.
We'll go with that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8,
You have a lot,
9,
so.
10, 12, 13, so +12.
Woo! I mean, getting a...
Yeah, that's gonna be a success, so.
That's a...
What's an exceptional give me?
Yeah, exceptional successes. I had closed the book already. Or no, I didn't have this book open. I will eventually add this to a cheat sheet.
Yeah. Sorry for having to look up mechanical
Oh,
way
no.
things work on stream.
This is an actual play. Sometimes this happens. Some people actually like when there's this type of stuff because it means that we're actually playing the game. Alright, the prelude, no. Does anybody have it yet?
What are you looking for?
What exceptional success on a cover roll is on a compromise roll.
Yeah.
Isn't that...
you...
Don't you get like a cover beat or something? And you don't get like a condition?
The character somehow manages not only to survive the compromise, but to incorporate it into her cover and become stronger for it. The character takes a beat and regains a point of willpower.
Ooh, well, I didn't spend any willpower yet, so... But the beat, do I get an XP or?
Yes.
Alright. Sweet.
Refuse to keep track of these.
Yeah. Mark that down. Cool.
So, with that being stated, what you see above you, you can't see the entirety of this floor. Just so you know, you can pretty much only see what appears to be... You see like staircases, so you know that it goes up higher. It looks like a library. You see hundreds, if not thousands of books, though, even on this first floor. You see the occasional person moving about. It looks like they are putting books back onto the shelf. Now, as to why they were removed from the shelf, etc., obviously you have no idea, but it definitely looks like the first floor of a library. Also, on this first level, you're not quite sure, but there is, obviously from the outside, you probably would see a pane of glass looking up. It's not like, oh, all of a sudden there's no windows on this level. However, from the inside, you can't see any window.
Like no, like not even blacked out windows, they're just walls.
Yes.
Oh.
But obviously from the outside, anything like that, you can't tell because it looks like your standard skyscraper. So it looks like there would be windows from the outside.
Okay.
I just wanted to clarify that before I told you that. Now, this is just your sense of sight, since it has to do with your eyes, correct?
Probably. Let me see. No physical bearer. See anyone invisible to the eye. So yeah, it's only has to do with sight things.
Yep.
All right. I have a question if there's no more description.
Go ahead.
Do I recognize the person? Have I seen them at all in my cleaning duties? Going through my eidetic memory.
Yeah, no. Not that you're aware of, at least.
Okay. I was hoping I'd recognize them and maybe catch them off of this floor and have a quick touch, but that's not gonna work. Okay.
Obviously, you're not quite sure. It would also be pertinent to think that maybe, obviously, if they're working on these different floors, they might also have different security protocols that they have to follow.
Oh, they're not allowed to go to the restaurants. That's entirely possible. Now that I think about it.
So, I'm gonna put a pin in you for a moment, and we're gonna move over to Kant. What is Kant up to?
Well, if
yes, the conversation.
I was stopped in the lobby on my way to work.
So is it something you'd be able to do for me?
Well, it's me move my mic so you can like actually maybe hear me. Well, again, it's gonna depend on, well, a lot of things. I mean, time, scale, where it needs to be. I mean, a life-size statue is not easy to haul around.
I can provide a warehouse. Or a studio, whichever you prefer. I can do both. I've got the income to do so.
When do you need this done by?
Ooh, time is somewhat important. The project I'm working on requires this. However, I'm also not I'm not great with sculptures and the like, so I'm not quite sure what's a realistic time frame, so to speak. I'm not sure on that. I would also be providing you the material. Don't have the amount of... Well, I'm debating between granite and marble, but I have both already picked out. I just, you know, haven't fully decided.
Well, you have no schematic you want to follow, either.
Artistic liberties can be taken very clearly with that, just as long as it is humanoid, human-shaped. Bounces the words around.
So, would my character realistically know how long such a project might take? I mean,
yes,
yeah,
I would
sure,
assume.
Maybe.
At least an idea. A rough estimate.
Yeah, like, worked with stone before, but actual caring about how it looks, no, not really. Well, see, I don't personally know how long that might take, so I'm going to
Google.
Randomly
How long does it take to carve a sculpture?
It's given other projects I need to get done and work here.
Roughly about a year.
What do you mean roughly about a year?
That's literally... How long does it take to carve a marble statue? The creation of a large-scale marble statue, which on average took roughly about 12 months.
Well, what is this red? This site claims that the production time is about 10 to 30 days.
Not by hand.
Well, yeah. Well, you think I'm doing it by hand? Come on, I got better hands than normal human hands. All right. Normally, such a project is quite intensive, but I think I could probably get this done in a week, maybe 2.
Oh, wow. Certainly better than what I was thinking. Most definitely. And obviously, compensation's not a problem. I have quite a large company grant for this.
Company grant?
Yes, the company has actually gave me the money to purchase, or to acquire a artist to be able to do this, and lo and behold, when I look through the company's roster, I find you there. I think the company's going to be happy that it's in-house.
What company, if you don't mind me asking? This doesn't sound Particularly like many of the names on that elevator list over there.
Well, if you must know, it's not DevaCorp. Well, it is DevaCorp technically. Yeah, you know how subsidiaries work. Well, maybe you don't. I don't really want to bother with a long-winded explanation, but it's the New Mason architecture. That's
yeah,
on.
I suppose they might be interested. But they not have their own in-house people to do it. Outsourcing, I suppose. That's this whole company's motto. Very well. Pass me the details, where your material is, where it needs to be done. And
Well, would you prefer a studio or would the warehouse suffice? As stated, I have the stone, but obviously it's kept at a warehouse, right? Because, well, it just arrived. Can't find that amount of stone, you know, at local grocery market.
well, if you know where to ask. Now, I would prefer to work in private, if possible.
So if you have a studio or something, I can have it delivered there. No problem.
Nowhere that can handle a life-sized block of marble or granite. You barely fit it through the door, if possible even.
Right. Do you have an idea of a studio that would be adequate? There we go. And which one would you prefer, the marble or the granite? Get that.
Not that I have in mind. Tell you what, the warehouse will be fine. I'll make it work.
Oh, and just so you know, I privately own those warehouses, so I can make sure it's empty.
Well, yes, warehouse will be fine. I'll make it work. We'll see what the stone looks like when I get there.
Excellent. He pulls out his phone, quickly pulls up Google Maps and lets you, you know, copy down whatever you need to from the Google Maps address.
Yeah. Naturally, I still do have a shift here I need to...
Absolutely, absolutely. Also, he kind of searches around, he pulls open his coat, and if you have any questions, I'm allowed to give these out temporarily. It gives you access to my floor.
I see. Well,
Since we have landlines here, it's probably easier to show me like concept images, etc., you know, by actually taking them up to me, etc.
yes, perhaps. That may be easiest. Well, I shall... Well, I make no promises for what the day brings, but perhaps I will stop by after work and see what I'm working with here.
Right. Well, I would say enjoy your shift, but how many people actually enjoy what they do for a living?
Well, you just need to look for the harmony and everything. It's the same in art, really. What's the difference between stone, parchment, and people? Everything needs to work well together.
I was wondering where you were going to go with that for a second.
Apologies. My machinations in my brain, perhaps not the same as brain of an artist.
Well, I bid you a good day, and he heads off to the elevators to take what you would assume is up to the 17th floor.
Well, that was weird. Anyways, time to go back to work. I do have a cover to keep.
So, with that, we're gonna hop over to Praxis. You are muted.
No, I know. So, how much has Maven shared about the angels, or is that still?
For right now, we're gonna put a pin in that. We're gonna actually have to go back a week or so here.
Okay.
So this is gonna be the day after your infiltration of Blackfire. As you show up to work, you are greeted by several Blackfire security guards. I'm sorry. We're gonna need you to, as they kind of put themselves in between you and the elevators, you're gonna need to give up your badge for a moment, please. Well, maybe more for a moment. Depends on the next several minutes.
Well, yeah, my security cards.
Thank you. Please follow us. They proceed to gesture you towards the elevators.
Yeah. I'll follow.
As you enter the elevators, they swipe their card and hit floor 52. As the elevator goes up, they stand there in silence.
I'll see if I can make eye contact with any of them.
Beyond sideways glances, they don't really look at you.
Is there a problem?
Yes.
I'd like to know if it's all the same.
We will discuss that in a moment.
Oh, very well.
The elevator dings. They gesture for you to leave the elevator. And as soon as you do, they leave behind you and they take positions at either side of the door. The 52nd floor is noted as Security Hub 2.
Yep.
What it looks like is in this main area, it does look like your standard security room where they have, you know, people sitting at desks looking at cameras all over the place. The cameras look to be mostly the upper floors. However, one at the back side of this room with all these cameras gestures for you to come forward, and he points at a room that is marked. It just has a little plaque right above it that says number 3. And he kind of makes the hand gesture, you know, you go there.
Okay.
The room, which is visible, you know those crime dramas where the interrogation room is literally just one steel chair, a steel table, and then one wall's a one-way mirror? Or, yeah.
Two-way mirror, yeah.
Yeah, two-way. Yeah, that's what this is. No, there's not even another way to spin it. As you enter, the guy that gestured for you to enter the room shuts the door behind, and you do hear the clicking sound of a lock. The individual that is in this room looks to be older, probably in his 50s. Have a seat, why don't you?
And as I take a seat, I the gentlemen that escorted me this way were less than forthcoming. Perhaps
Well, yes, they are.
we might share.
They are not part of the same division as I am. So, Garesh, is it?
It is.
Alright, so I'm not gonna, I'm gonna cut to the chase.
Please do.
There's an incident that was recorded in our logs. So, we had an unauthorized entry of a security member. Came in after shift. Now, I realize the question here is what does this have to do with you? Because we clearly have his card on log. However, he also, the very next day, reported the card stolen.
Oh.
So this leads us to a very interesting situation, as we clearly have him also on camera. However, we were able to ascertain that he was not lying. It doesn't take us very long to do these, as each one of these cards also has a chip in them that allows us to electronically track them. And the fact that we found him somewhat unconscious when his ride came to pick him up leads us to believe that he's telling the truth. So we are tracking people that he has had contact with and people that he has said he has had contact with. And your name came up because of a incident at a bar dealing with a drunk coworker.
Yes.
So obviously we're crossing our T's, dotting our I's. You're not necessarily in any sort of trouble at this moment, but it's very clear that his card was on site. He was not with his card. And yet we have images of him using said card. So we're obviously we're looking into our video software to see if there was any tampering done, so on and so forth. So, if you would like to give us your side of the story, obviously everything you say here will be gated by us.
Of course. I wouldn't expect anything less. So, I'm going to have to mess with this ever so slightly with a preface of hopefully I can remember the details.
Of course, yeah. No, I'm not gonna. I realize you've been out a little bit.
Yeah. Myself and a few of the others were taking in drinks, given it's end of the first day, something of a social enterprise. And is it Jude? And Jude, obviously, I can only assume being an American, is only used to drinking water and hasn't really developed a taste for local alcohol. Myself and several of those in your employ, in these offices, were able to see him out and a taxi was called. I simply saw Jude back to his accommodation.
And what state was? So let me get some clarification. You took Jude back to their domicile?
I did, yes. I threw it with a taxi.
Okay.
But several of your employees helped me get this fellow off the premises. He was rather making a scene.
Where did you head after?
I
No matter what you say here, this is probably going to be a roll because it's going to be
of
a
course.
lie.
But like, the best lies are based on truth. As much as it is for me to, it's slightly shameful for me to admit this, but I've become indebted to some rather less than savory folks in the city. I met with one of them to make a payment of what is owed.
Alright, go ahead and give me that roll. I'll say give me a... or you can do it at a +2.
Oh, nice.
That's gonna be
no, that's my
manipulation plus subterfuge.
Subterfuge, yeah.
Roll to see if it fits.
Can he though? We are demons, right?
Just because your lies are perfect doesn't mean that he will believe it.
Ah,
He will believe that that's what you think.
What's mine?
Just like you can say that the sky is purple and they'll believe that you think it's purple.
One.
Wow.
Just wow.
It's not necessarily whether or not he'll believe the lie. It's more if he'll believe how his thought process is going to go on it.
Come on, fail.
Yes, it's with subterfuge because even subterfuge is for detecting lies.
Yeah.
It's weird. Goes to the defender.
Which is who?
yes, who's defending in this case?
He would be the defender since he's rolling like a resistance here.
The contested, yeah. Oh.
So
Yeah.
he believes that's what you think you were doing. So he raises an eyebrow. Goes, what kind of individuals and what do you owe the debt for?
Local thugs, you might say. And I don't think we ever discussed what the debt was actually for.
Mom, I need a new kidney.
Do you have a name for these individuals? Even if it's just like an organizational name, we can find them via.
Sorry to mess it. Do I have any names that are pertinent in this?
No specific. They're a local street gang, so it probably would be different in India than like here would be like the 36th Street gang, you know.
Yeah.
That type of deal. It's something. It would probably be different over there because I doubt they name their gangs like that. I would hope they have more originality.
It's more of a group of, like I say, thugs, and I will give descriptions of a couple of them.
He takes these descriptions down as you give them. Like, we will pull them aside for questioning. Don't worry. While we handle the security of this building, we don't necessarily share all the information we pull, either. Obviously, some of it's privileged. Since this is more of an issue on our end, none of this is getting logged within DevaCorp in of itself.
Of course not my concern. My main concern is now for my own well-being, if they know that obviously I've been speaking with you.
Let me just phrase it like this. When 4 guys show up in a black SUV armed with paramilitary gear, people tend to back down very fast.
Well, if you could see about getting my outstanding debts forgiven, I'd be very grateful.
Not the point.
No, I understand. Like I say, I would just be very grateful.
So, needless to say, according to your description of events, they do match up with his. However, that also puts you in somewhat of a physical contact with him. However, we don't really have anything else to go on at this moment, but suffice it to say, you are being watched.
Of course.
We will, of course, you would just need to stop by information to pick up your bag. See, no reason to hold you any longer. You've answered our questions. You've been truthful. And right now, as stated, we are still in the process of scrubbing the video to see what happened here. So, he walks over. He gives a very rhythmic knock on the door. You hear the latch be undone, and the door opens. He gestures for you to see yourself out.
And that's exactly what I do.
The 2 people open the elevator and gesture for you to go in before they step in as well and take you down to ground floor.
And I will go to information as suggested. Pick up my card.
Yep. Nothing else happens. They give you your card, and they do actually provide you a slip basically stating, hey, this is the reason why, you know, you're not supposed to, you're not to dock pay or anything like this.
Yeah.
So they do provide that as well. So, with that, is there anything else you want to do before we skip Praxis forward in time, so to speak, to catch them up with everybody else?
I'm going into my little part of the HR department. I want to take my time doing it, but I want to find out the information about the guy who interviewed me, but I want to sort of disguise it in looking through various personnel within the building.
No name matches.
Okay.
So, yes, there's no name that matches his. I will go ahead and fill you in on that during the break.
Okay.
But yeah, there is no name that matches his on file for within your computer system. Now, obviously, since he's probably part of Blackfire, that's not necessarily suspicious by any means.
But that'll be that. Yeah, that'll be it for the time being.
All right. So, I feel like at this point, before the new day begins, I would say Maven, Kant, and Praxis have met up and exchanged the information. Is there any information any of you want to keep back? Because even Praxis has a little bit of new information that they can share, so I feel like that can be asked of everybody. Kant, you're sharing records of all your murders?
Oh yeah, no, that's a good point. Do I? Maybe I won't share that I have murdered people, but I will share that I am making good progress on getting my own people hired. And that I am now engaged in perhaps some strange business deal with another company.
So, only sharing a little bit of it.
Yeah, Maven doesn't really have anything sensitive to himself. Angels on site is pertinent to everyone. There's no reason not to share that. And his suspicions he labels as just that. He suspects that they're hanging out on these floors. Not guaranteed, just suspects.
And Praxis, are you going to share the little tidbit that I shared with you about all the cards being able to be tracked?
I will, yes, but I'll say certainly for Blackfire. The rest of the thing, I don't know.
Also, do you still technically have that card? Or does it disappear, since I know you switched it with an embed?
I would...
I don't think it switches back.
Yeah, I don't think it's.
I don't think it switches back, but I would not have kept it.
Yeah, I would assume you would.
Yeah. As soon as I was out of the building, get it out of the throw it down a drain or whatever.
All right. I just want... If you would have been like, oh, I kept that, I would have been like, and they're now at your house.
Yes. It was in my pocket as I was in the interrogation room.
No, but I would hope not. I assumed the level of competence there.
Yeah.
Which means that if cards can be tracked, and that's two-way, that works both ways. I'm sure that one of us at least might have the skills to.
I might. Who wants me to hack their card?
I'm thinking if we can get an ID on your angels of who they're posing as. Sorry, that's out of character.
What, by tracking their cards?
Track their cards, see where they go.
I would need to know who they are to...
Yeah.
That's the,
That's the route.
that's the next. That's the tug the threads. You know which floors they're probably on, but that's we've potentially got a means of following them without getting too close.
Do we have anybody on... Does any of your jobs deal with handling multiple cards or security details with the cards? Like, if you're doing a new hire, do you hand that kind of thing?
Any of the...
Well, I don't know.
To answer that question, if Praxis specifically, at the end of the hiring process, yes, he would hand over the card, but all the security stuff would have already been done.
Because I do background checks as well, so...
Yeah.
There's no reason I would be working with cards. So, no.
You think you can get your hands on some blank cards?
Almost certainly.
I wonder if I could spoof them, copy some data onto a card, and then we could use those cards while our cards are sitting where they should be or something. I don't know. Fake a new hire. I don't know. I feel like having some blank cards could be useful.
Absolutely.
Presumably, whatever.
Do any of you have second or third faces yet?
Realistically, Kant, you walked around a bunch of dying people making deals. You would have a second cover.
No, yes, I have a backup that I've been using for more difficult tasks.
I'm still working on a second.
But additionally, presumably whatever they encode the cards with to let them work on certain floors, that's presumably encrypted. It's probably not going to be something easy to fake.
The necessity is not in finding the cards. The necessity is in finding in somebody to imprint onto them. A suitable vacancy can be made.
Well, if you get one card, you can rip it apart and just make a complete mockery if you really wanted to. Figure out how the sensors work and feed it the same data.
That's part of the reason why I wanted multiple. Take one apart, see how it works, use that information on the others.
Take it apart, put it back together.
What? Just in case.
Do you not
Contingency
develop your own
plans.
Skills?
I do. That's why I'm asking for multiple. It's always good to have more than one.
I'll see what I can do.
So, with this, the next day rolls around. Now, luckily for Praxis, a lot of blank cards are going to be showing up. Due to the recent earthquakes, a lot of temp people are having to be hired on until official workers can. A lot of blank cards are being brought in.
Okay. So, with that volume, a few of them, as they're being checked, I'm going to not sort of swipe them properly, do it a few times, and make it look like that card is faulty, and then just kind of throw it to one side across the desk. So it's like make a real point of like not making it look like it's anything.
So as that's going on, Kant, Maven.
Well, I did promise a suspicious man in a lab coat in the lobby I'd go look at his rocks, so...
Is
that a euphemism for testicles? It sounds like a euphemism.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I was thinking. I was like, okay.
No, but that does sound stupid.
Is it in an unlocked van?
No, it's in a vacated warehouse. So, the address that he gives you. It is a warehouse. Nondescript. Definitely looks privately owned. Inside are hundreds, if not thousands, of crates. It's still very active in use. However, it is very clear there is a very large spot in the center that has been very obviously cleared out. They've moved shelves, etc. And two very large They're roughly about 8 foot tall and 6 feet wide blocks of granite and marble. Very clearly, the extra is meant for in case it needs to be used. Rather have excess material rather than not enough.
Okay. So I am going to, before I do anything, I'm going to schizophrenically check the building for people here.
Give me perception. As far as you can tell, there's absolutely nobody here.
Okay. There are cameras, however, aren't there?
Yes, however, none of them... They all do have the lights that would indicate whether they're turned on or off. None of them are turned on. At this time. But you don't know if that maybe is just...
Yeah. Alright, well I have a backup for what'll happen. Let me confirm the page number real quick, because I don't remember where it is.
Demonic form or embed?
Demonic form things.
And yeah, you don't want to be on camera for that. Gotta get used, you know?
Oh, look, I mean, I got things to build, you know. Like, we don't have time for like taking a while. What page is demonic form? It's after PAX. Yeah. Okay. Here we go. Now, did I coincidentally take everything from the core book? I don't think I did. Where's...
What's the demonic form you're looking for?
If I recall... Ah, okay. Extra mechanical limbs is only going to give me a bonus to strength, so that's not really helpful here, is it?
I was banned from that ability.
Apparently everybody else took it.
Apparently everyone else had it, so he said, no, you can't have it.
Then I could use burrowing, maybe. That's not in this book, is it? Oh, hold on, where is it? Sorry, I'm
It's a propulsion system.
You're good to propulse.
It is Flowers of Hell. Drills are part of hands and feet.
Okay, well.
Kinda works, but...
There's no mechanical thing I got.
And it states loose material. Durability 3 materials can be burrowed through at a speed of 1 and require 1 ether per minute.
Okay, well that doesn't help me then.
Yeah, you would be spending ether out the wazoo.
Well, I mean, I just gotta do it quickly.
Ooh, that could work. I have one that would work, but I'm not there with you.
Did I take... Yeah, nothing I have is gonna help me, I don't think. Oh, no.
You'll just have to do this the old-fashioned way.
Yeah, but the old-fashioned way is gonna take too long.
So give me your crafts plus.
No, I'm going all in. All right, here's my narrative justification to get a bonus on the roll. Right. So I activate extra mechanical limbs, right, so that I can be working. You know, I've got multiple chisels. You know.
Realistically, I could see how an extra arm would help sculpting. I do see how that works. So yes, you are going to get a bonus for it. And actually, you would already get a bonus for it because I also could see how a plus to strength works. Because I was actually going to call... It was going to be strength plus crafts to chisel.
Ah.
So you are already getting a bonus. You're getting the +3.
All right. Well, then that's what I'm gonna do. So it is 1 ether per ability you turn on?
Yes, and it is a compromise roll. And what was your plan to deal with the cameras?
The cameras I was going to use an embed after the fact to remove evidence that I was here.
All right. So go ahead and give us that roll, and let's see how this goes.
Alright, so what do you want first? Strength or compromise?
Compromise.
Okay, that is manipulation something, right?
What's manipulation plus however many abilities you're not using.
So plus 11 then?
Yeah. Compromise rolls are for these are. So you gain a point of willpower and XP.
We should use these more often.
Yeah. I don't trust my rolls. They also cost ether, which is a little difficult to get back in this system.
Right.
Okay, so strength crafts.
Yep.
And extra mechanical limbs gives me a +3 if I use them all for the same task.
I'm assuming that's what you're doing.
Yeah. One measly success.
Well, this is an extended action, so...
I see.
How many? You get 5 rolls?
Yep, 5 rolls.
Alright, well...
And this would be probably a 15 to 20. So, willpower is probably going to want to be spent.
Maybe, yeah.
But... And we're back.
You have just finished listening to this week's episode of Demon the Descent, Frayed Wires, part of the Domain Gaming's Contagion anthology, written and told by Wyverian. A special thanks to you, the listener, and if you wish to continue supporting us, subscribe, like, and share. As always, comments are welcome. Until the next chapter, don't stop asking yourself, what does one do if the slaver is the key to one's survival?